Okay, I think we're ready to start. Welcome once again. Very pleased to have you here at our Launchmetrics Solutions event, a series of live demos of Launchmetrics brand performance cloud apps. And today we'll be talking about boosting your beauty consumer insights with product category data. My name is Alex. I'm the business marketing strategist here at Launchmetrics. And with me today, I have Olivia, our beauty key account manager. Hi, Olivia. So good to have you here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Olivia is based in New York, so we appreciate you doing this at 9:30 a.m. on a Friday. Hope you got your coffee. Great. Let's quickly go through the agenda. As always, we'll start by a brief introduction to Launchmetrics for those of you who are with us for the first time. Then we'll dive into some key takeaways from the Beauty Insights report. If you have not downloaded it yet, make sure you do so. We cover the beauty landscape, some trends from S2 2022, the top growing channels, and much, much more. There should be a link popping up somewhere in the chat now, so make sure you download from here. Then we'll move on to a walkthrough of our Insights platform, where Olivia will dive into categorization data. And at the very end, we'll have some time for questions, so feel free to pop any as they come to mind in the chat box. Right, let's kick off. For those of you who don't know us, Launchmetrics is the leading brand performance cloud for fashion, lifestyle, and beauty. We work with over 1,200 clients from the FLB industry, as well as some key industry partners, some of which you can see at the bottom of this very slide here. When we talk about Launchmetrics, we look at the twofold that it is. So on one side, Launchmetrics helps brands be more efficient with building and managing their brand assets and activations. And on the other side is leveraging our AI-powered data and insights to measure and benchmark our brand's performance. So that's super quickly about us. But before we get into the data and the platform itself, I want to quickly get into our methodology so that when we show you all that data in a second, it makes sense to you. So first of all, let's talk about media impact value, something we'll be referencing quite a lot today. If you read publications such as WWD, Vogue Business, or Glossy, you might actually seen MIV already. So media impact value, MIV in short, is essentially a metric powered by an AI algorithm that assigns a monetary value to every post, every article, every campaign that your brand is running. And what's great about MIV is not only does it have a global coverage, so you can see your performance across all regions, but it also works across all channels. So we have print, we have social media, online, so you can really compare apples to apples and just use one reporting metric. And MIV works across all voices as well. But what are voices? So beyond the media impact value algorithm, at Launchmetrics, we developed something that's called a voice-centric approach. So we believe there are 5 voices that really influence the consumer path to purchase. And by using a voice-centric approach, brands can better understand what, but more importantly, who is driving their performance. So is it celebrities, media, influencers, partners, such as retail partners like Sephora or Douglas, or your own media? So it's quite simple, really, but it will be key when we look at the voice split later and dive into which voices beauty brands leverage most often. Now, we have all the knowledge we need about what we do and how we do it. So as promised, we'll quickly highlight some of the key findings from the Beauty Insights report. Again, if you haven't already, make sure to download and dive into the data in greater detail. So, quick sip of water. In the report, we looked at over 700 brands from the beauty industry and their S2 2022 performance. So as we closed S2, the industry was facing a looming recession, supply chain disruptions, and very high energy costs. But nonetheless, with all that, the beauty industry was busier than ever. Enterprises continued their acquisition spree. P&G acquired Tula, Vinyl C acquired Ilia, Puig added by Brito to the portfolio, and Estée Lauder companies acquired Tom Ford. And so as brands continued to evolve, so did regions. Despite continued lockdown measures in China, it remained one of the most important markets for the beauty industry. China alone drives the highest MIV, so media impact value, from beauty brands in the world. Their MIV is bigger than European and Middle Eastern countries combined. So that's quite huge. When we look at the voices in comparison to Western countries, China continues to lean heavily on influencers while in EMEA, media is still the most important voice for beauty. When we look at the top beauty brands by total media impact value, we have Dior, as always, soaring ahead of all beauty brands, followed by Lancome, which swapped places with L'Oréal Paris since S1. Shiseido, which actually saw a really huge growth of 60% and jumped from 12th place in S1 to 6th place in S2. And we also have Charlotte Tilbury, which managed to surpass NARS in S2. Again, I won't get deeper into the results as there's so many great insights and we're limited on time. So make sure to download and check for yourself. Now, enough of me talking. We're all here to find solutions and learn how categorization data can help propel your brand performance. So let's get into the Insights platform. Olivia, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm really excited to be here with you all. And today I'm going to show you how you can boost consumer insights using Launchmetrics product category data. So let me go ahead and I will share my screen. Okay, perfect. So this platform is called Insights, and this is our brand performance benchmarking platform. And this is where you'll come to really benchmark your brand against your competitors and also within the greater industry, and kind of looking at industry trends as well. So before I really jump in, I just want to go over how this platform is organized. So at the top, you'll see 5 tabs. We have industry, benchmark, brand focus, voice focus, and then my dashboard. And then you'll also see these filters on top for every page. The first filter is a date filter. So for this specific page, you can just do month to month or an entire year, whereas the other pages, you'll be able to go specific to the day. And then we have the voice type filter. So as Alex mentioned, we have identified 5 key voices, and we understand that different teams might be coming to this platform to really zoom in on different voices. So this will allow you to filter here by the different voice types. The next filter we have is channel filter. So we cover print, online, and social media, and that also includes Chinese social media as well. And then we have a location filter that allows you to filter by region or by specific country. And then last but not least is the category filter. So this is one of the most granular category filters out there. Not only can you filter by macro category, so just makeup, skincare, hair care, etc., but you can also drill down into a specific product type and filter by that. So we'll see in a second how you can kind of use these filters to get different insights here. But now that we have covered the kind of the organization of the platform, I'm going to jump right in. So the first tab here is the industry tab, and this is going to show you where your brand stands within the greater industry and also kind of what some industry trends are as well. So for this example today, I'm using Charlotte Tilbury as our main brand within the beauty luxury industry. So we can come here and see at the industry ranking that Charlotte Tilbury ranks #1. We can see the number of placements over this time period, as well as the media impact value generated. And then we can see here, it looks like they have held on to their spot in the #1 place. But this is where I think filters can really come into play, and we can kind of look at this data in a different way. So let's say we want to filter now by category, and I'm Charlotte Tilbury, and I want to see how do I rank when it comes to skincare specifically. So I would go ahead and apply this filter. I've actually preloaded this just to save us some time on data loading. But once you've gone ahead and applied that skincare filter, you can see here how the rankings have started to change. So now Charlotte Tilbury is actually ranking in #5. And it looks like they've also gone down 2 spots since the previous time period. So kind of interesting to see how these rankings change based on really what category you're looking at. So going back, let's say we're clearing all the filters. Going down the page, the next one I want to point out here is media impact value per location for the industry. So on the left, you'll see a heat map of really where the media impact value is coming from which countries. And on the right, we'll see a ranking here of the top 8 countries producing media impact value, as well as a category breakdown. So I think really the first thing that's interesting to call out, we see makeup is the leading category for every country here except for Italy. So Italy seems to be kind of performing differently than these other countries, where makeup's actually only their 3rd highest category. Skincare is their second highest category. And then you'll see this other category, which seems to be their first. And just to explain a little bit about what other is, this is when somebody would tag the brand overall or mention the brand overall, and they're not mentioning a specific product. So a little bit interesting to see how Italy is performing much differently than other countries. And then another call out I can see here is hair care. So hair care looks like it's coming in last place for almost every country, except in the United States, where this is actually the third highest category. So this might be a graph that you come to and refer to when maybe you're launching a new product and you want to understand, what country should I be launching this in? Is there a strategic way to think about this and within the greater industry as well? Coming down to our next graph, this is the last one on the industry page I want to show you. This is just the product type generating the most media impact value. So it's just a word cloud here, which you can see for product type. And again, you can also toggle this between media impact value and number of placements. And now I will move on to the benchmark section. So the benchmark section, this is where you can benchmark your brand against your competitors. So we can see here on the left, this is overview rankings again, which we just saw on the industry page. However, this is specific to your brand, Charlotte Tilbury, which we're using for today, and then your selected competitor set as well. And this is all visualized on the right side here in share of value graph. And something I do want to point out is all of these graphs can also be downloaded, either the raw data as an Excel file, or you can actually download the image to include in a presentation. And there are many graphs that you'll see today. And so Add to My Dashboard is a feature that allows you to kind of save your favorite graphs or the ones that you maybe look at the most. And that's where it will all go to, is this tab in my dashboard. Also, everything is very clickable throughout the entire platform. So for example, we see Lancome here is coming in right behind Charlotte Tilbury. If we were curious kind of what is Lancome doing, we can click on this and it will now show us the top 30 placements by media impact value for Lancome. So we can see Emma Chamberlain, looks like they're posting a lot for Lancome and producing a lot of media impact value, for example, and they're working with a lot of influencers and celebrities, it looks like. So continuing down, we will see media impact value evolution. So this is going to be an overview timeline of what days are contributing the most media impact value. And since there might be a lot of brands on here, you can always select or deselect them to add or remove them from this graph. But let's say, we see a spike here for Lancome on March 15th. Once again, it's clickable, so we can click into here and see for Lancome on this day, what was driving so much media impact value for this brand. So it looks like between Emma Chamberlain and Penelope Cruz, they generated almost $1 million of media impact value for Lancome on this specific day. So just another example of how we can kind of dig into this data a little bit deeper as well. Continuing down, we now see category mix benchmark. So what category is bringing the most value to the brand, and really who are the category winners here? So we can see for Charlotte Tilbury, 73% of the media impact value is coming from the makeup category, which makes sense. And then we see 13% coming from skincare. But let's say we want to take the example that we saw on the industry page, that Charlotte Tilbury has actually fallen 2 spots in the ranking for skincare. And maybe this is a category that they really want to focus on and to expand. We might look to our competitive set and see, okay, who else is doing really well in the skincare category? So we can see Clinique, 47% of their MIV is coming from skincare. Once again, we can click on this to understand what is Clinique posting, what coverage are they getting about their skincare? So not surprising to see here, it looks like very traditional categories are performing the best for them. And then continuing down, we will now see a similar graph. However, this is voice mix benchmark. So looking at what voice type is bringing the most value to the brand. So it looks like here for Charlotte Tilbury, we see 57% coming from influencers. And it looks like that's also a pretty common theme throughout these other brands. They're very influencer heavy, which makes a lot of sense for beauty. And the media voice is only 31%. But continuing on with that example from Clinique, let's say we want to understand kind of what is Clinique doing with the media, who in the media is talking about Clinique and talking about their skincare as well. So clicking here, we can see a lot of their top placements were for skincare. It looks like if we're looking at channel, almost everything is actually online media with 2 print editorials in here as well. So I'm guessing that, Clinique is really leaning heavily on online media as a channel, which will actually be the next graph we see. So this is channel mix benchmark. And it looks like that our suspicions are confirmed. Clinique has 58% of their MIV coming from online media, whereas for Charlotte Tilbury, it's only 24%. And this is a graph that also, another use case maybe is for social teams. So if you're on a social team, you could come on here and say, all right, I know that TikTok is an area that I really want to focus on and a channel I really want to grow. Who can I look to out of our competitor set that's doing really well on TikTok? So we see Fenty Beauty here has almost 20% of their MIV coming from TikTok. So we might click into here and explore a bit, who they're working with on TikTok and who's talking about the brand. And the same could go for YouTube, for example. Charlotte Tilbury only has 6% coming from YouTube, whereas Laura Mercier, for example, has 10% coming from their YouTube. So we might look more into Laura Mercier's YouTube coverage to kind of see who's talking about that brand as well. And now the last thing I'll show you on the benchmark tab is the brand efficiency benchmark. So really looking how efficient is each brand strategy. So on the bottom, we will see MIV per placement, so kind of the quality aspect. And then on the left, we have the number of placements, so more of the quantity aspect. And there's no right or wrong place to be on this graph. It's really just outlining kind of the different strategies that these brands are employing. So for example, we have Charlotte Tilbury. They have a very high number of placements and a pretty good MIV per placement. But for example, we would say that they're going for an always on strategy. Whereas you look at a brand like Lancome, they have a much lower number of placements compared to Charlotte Tilbury. However, they have a higher media impact value per placement. So we could say that maybe they're going with more of a campaign-led strategy. And you can see, for example, the size of the bubble correlates to the total media impact value. So we can see that Fenty Beauty and Lancome have similar size bubbles. They're just on different places in the map. So once again, just showing you there's no right or wrong place to be on here. It's just really showing you different types of strategies. And so now that we've covered benchmark, I will move on to the brand focus. So the brand focus is where you can really zoom in on one specific brand. So you'll see an additional filter that pops up on this tab, and that is the brand filter. So this is where you would be able to toggle between your different competitors or your brand as well. And really the brand focus is where you're going to come to also evaluate your marketing effectiveness, which we'll see in a minute here. So at the top, we'll just see an overview really of how Charlotte Tilbury is performing for the time period we have selected. We can see in all 3 pillars, they are experiencing growth. So that's really good to see. And then the media impact value evolution. We did see this graph already on the benchmark page. So I won't go too much into this again. And then coming down, just like we saw similar to on the industry page, we have media impact value per location. So here we're actually going to see a bit of a heat map of kind of where the media impact value is coming from for our brand. So we can see, for example, the US is very strong, the UK is very strong, and then we see a little bit of shading here in France, in Spain, a little bit in Italy, and also in India. So a good way to understand, maybe what markets are heating up that you're not super aware of. And also you can, once again, click into this to see, what were the top 30 placements in India? What were the top 30 placements, in different countries around the world? Continuing down, we have voice mix. So once again, we did see this on the benchmark tab. However, this time we are actually looking at it with evolution of voice mix here on the right. So we can see here, celebrities is up over 300%, which is really significant because that's not standard for the industry. So we could always click into here to see, what celebrities are driving this growth and kind of dig into that a bit more as well. Coming down here, we see channel mix by media impact value, which we also saw on the benchmark tab. But this time they're kind of comparing it with the volume of placements to the right. So I think something interesting to see here, YouTube is only 11% of Charlotte Tilbury's placements. However, it's actually driving 21% of their media impact value. And again, here with Instagram, it's only 38% of their placements. However, it's driving 44% of their media impact value. So these two channels might be a place you want to invest more in, seeing as they're really driving a lot of growth for how much is being invested in it. And then looking at online media, this is pretty much holding its value more or less. But you can see as an example of how you would come in and be able to use this tool to see, what channels are driving the most value for you and maybe where you'd want to invest. Looking on the right side, we just have brand association. So what brand are you most often associated alongside with? So right here, we can see where Charlotte Tilbury is most often mentioned alongside NARS. And then if you were to click here, we could see, what were the top placements when we were mentioned alongside NARS, and et cetera for the rest of the brands here. The last thing I'll point out on this page are key voices. So this will show us overall for this time period, which voices generated the most media impact value for our brand. So we can see here, we have a pretty good mix between media, partners, influencers, celebrities as well. And it will show you potential reach, the number of placements within that time period, the average MIV per placement, and then the total MIV as well. But let's say we actually want to dig into a voice and really understand how is this voice performing for us and maybe what potential is there. This is when we could click See Profile, and it's actually going to take us now into this voice focus. So let's say we want to click on Vogue. I already have this tab pulled up. So if we click onto Vogue and to See Profile, this is going to take us now into the voice profile. And this will help us understand, like I said, how is Vogue performing? And also, is there a potential here maybe that we're not aware of yet? So at the top here, you'll just see an overview of the different channels that they have, as well as the average media impact value, the potential reach, and the average engagement rate. So we can see here that Instagram is definitely driving the highest media impact value for them and also has the highest potential reach. So this might be a place where we want to start if we want to work with Vogue. Maybe we'd want to start working with them on their Instagram channel. But coming down here, we'll be able to see the media impact value generated per brand. So this will show during this time period with our competitors and our brand, really what value are they driving? So in the gray, we'll see the number of placements that we had. And then in the purple, you'll see the media impact value that it drove. And you can see that this black line is showing the average MIV per placement. So it makes it a bit easier to now compare across all these different brands here. So we can see here for Charlotte Tilbury, they had 7 placements and generated $659,000 of media impact value. One great use case I would say for this is, let's say you're looking at this through a partner voice. So right now, Vogue we're looking at is a media voice, but let's say we're looking at Sephora, for example, and we want to see how much value is Sephora driving for our brand. This is also data that you can leverage and really bring into conversations you're having with these partners, for example, or even with media in terms of maybe what you want to pitch to them. But coming in and saying, listen, we saw you posted X amount of times for our competitor and generated this much value for them. You only posted about us, twice or 3 times. So like I said, it's just data really to be able to empower you and bring you into those conversations prepared with data to back you up. And now the last thing I'll show you is channel mix. So we can see here that 20% of the placements are coming from social, but this is driving 84% of the MIV. And then for online, it's 76% of the placements only driving 16% of the MIV. We can also toggle this into a more detailed view. Wow, so that really changed things. So it looks like YouTube is really driving the most growth here with only 20% of the placements. However, it's driving 84% of the MIV. So it looks like YouTube would be a great place to work with Vogue because of how much media impact value it is driving for them. So overall, that was a very quick tour of our platform insights, and I hope that this was very useful. And so now I think we will jump into the questions portion of our session today. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Olivia. That was great. Hope that was all clear, and now you kind of have a basic understanding of our platform. I will quickly go for the questions because I see we had some in the chat and in the Q&A box. So the first one, Sam asked, you mentioned China as the growing region. Do you track this region on the platform?
Yes, so we do track China on the platform. One of the ways that you can see this is through our filter here. So if you go to the channel filter, specifically for social media, you'll be able to see that here we have all of the Chinese social media that you can filter by either all of these or by one of these individually as well.
Amazing. And the second question is, are the competitors in the platform chosen by Launchmetrics, or can I choose my own ones? I think this refers to where you showed in the benchmark part, right?
Okay, yeah, of course. Great question. So you'll see here that we have selected competitors. You will be able to select your own competitors, and most clients will choose usually 9 competitors in addition to their brand. However, you are able to add up to 49 others. So yes, you're definitely able to select your own.
Perfect. And then the ones in the industry tab, these are all brands, right?
Yes, so here, these you are not able to select. Yeah, these are just part of the industry that your brand is a part of. So these will be a preset.
Okay, amazing. And then the last question we have is, here we go. So can I see a performance of one specific product category across all channels and regions?
Yes, absolutely. So this is where you would just use the category filter and select the specific product category or overall category that you're wanting to use. And then if you wanted to make sure that it's global data, you would just make sure for location it's set to all. Or if you wanted, you could segment it and just look globally, region by region. It's up to you. But yes, these are definitely the filters that you would use throughout the whole platform to be able to see specific category level data.
Hey, great. Thanks so much, Olivia. I think these were all the questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It was our pleasure to host you. Thank you, Olivia, for joining on a Friday morning. It was my pleasure to have you here. If you have any further questions or if you'd like to schedule a one-to-one, feel free to email us. We're always happy to help. And if you're looking for other tools other than measuring your brand performance, we actually have done a lot of these live demos before. So make sure you check out our on-demand page. Or simply email us and we'll tell you more about it. So thank you once again. Have an amazing weekend and I'll see you on the next live session.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.